Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how you doing tonight?
I am feeling festive.
Well, it's a little strange because we are coming out to you in the summer months, but, there's a big push right now, the Christmas in the summer. So we are going to talk to you about the holidays in Walt Disney World as we're halfway there.
It's unique for us because with very little exception, I like to bring you things after I've experienced them. I will go to events and go to restaurant openings and then tell you all about them. We're going to talk tonight about things that haven't happened yet. So you're going to hear from me twice. You're going to hear from me, obviously, today. And then in November, when I get to do them firsthand. But I was just so excited with all the news that came out. I'll be honest, I've done Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party more times than I can count on two hands. And yeah, they change it up sometimes and there's some new things, but this year they've got a lot of new stuff coming at us. So I'm excited for the holidays.
Well, and that was the impetus behind it, was that we're learning so many things that they're about to do, and it's exciting, right? I mean, that's the root of why we do this show, is that these things that, as you said, you've been to, now are getting seasoned with things that are new. So for us to not address them as Disney fans first and foremost would be an error on our part. So I guess,
and I think honestly, if you waited to hear my review, you wouldn't be able to book it for 2023.
Correct.
These things are going to be sold out. And you're going to have to wait till 2024. So we're going to do some overviews tonight, but it's going to be worth tuning back in when we do our coverage in November, because I'm going to tell you how to actually work the event and what the feel was and where you don't want to miss and what they undersold and what they oversold to really give you the most bang for your buck.
So you mentioned, obviously, that you've been to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and then Christmas time, holiday time, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. What's new? What are we seeing that is new? Because there's been a lot of stuff that's been announced that we can talk about tonight.
In typical Disney fashion, they have now made up another new word. And it is Jollywood, that combination of holiday jolly and Hollywood. And so we're going to have Jollywood Nights, an after-hours party in Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Okay. Good to know. But here's the thing, right? You're mentioning November, right? This is something that Disney does, is that holidays or festivals or whatever it is, they start earlier than you think they're going to be, right? So clearly we're starting Christmas time in the beginning of November.
We are, and I will give one quick aside to that. That is true in 3 parks. It's never true in Epcot.
That's fair.
Because Disney is amazing at their theme and the integrity of the theme. And we can't have Christmas until we've wrapped up the Food and Wine Festival. So everywhere else, we see that changeover start to happen that first week in November. But Epcot doesn't change over till Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay, so I guess start the dates. Do we want to go over some of the dates for this Jollywood Nights?
So they're definitely, getting, I don't know if you want to call it pent-up demand or seeing what the demand is. There are only 10 nights for Jollywood, November 11th through December 20th. The party is going to be 8:30 to 12:30. We have not gotten an official answer on whether you'll be able to get in early. My bet says you will.
Well, if we're going off past practice of other parties, then yes.
Correct. So in Magic Kingdom, they've traditionally let you in early. I expect you'll be able to get in here early as well. Same thing like they do for the evening hours. So just 10 nights spread out over November and December. Lots of Mondays and some Wednesdays and then Saturdays.
Okay. So what do we expect it to be, I guess, is a big question.
So I think we expect it to be, or I know we expect it to be, a lot of the things that we talk about with the Magic Kingdom parties. We expect it to be smaller crowds so you can have quick access to the rides. We have not had a virtual queue for Rise of the Resistance in a long time. But again, they're looking at how do we give you the most in this little bit of time. So just for the party, free, they are bringing back the Rise of the Resistance virtual queue. So you won't have to waste a lot of your time online. We're going to see, again, this Jollywood, this play on holidays and Hollywood. We're going to see entertainment and a lot of it coming to the party. They're going to take the Theater of the Stars, where we currently see Beauty and the Beast during the day. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be a special show just during the party, hosted by none other than Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy.
Okay.
They're going to bring their friends Tiana, Belle, Mickey, Minnie, and many more out on stage. And we're going to see, again, that Broadway caliber show.
That's fun. Okay.
In the Hyperion Theater, where we see the Frozen sing-along, they're bringing an undisclosed new holiday sing-along show. So we'll have to wait and see who's hosting that. But beyond the short lines, the theme is really music and that old world Hollywood. So when you enter, you're going to be entering a Latin street fair with Latin music. Over in the Brown Derby, it's going to have a jazz lounge. They haven't been specific, but my bet is we're going to see that outside on the patio. That's not going to be an inside thing. Mm-hmm. And then there's going to be two other music locations set up, one focusing on show tunes and one focusing on swing dancing. And if I can tell you that when they have the swing dancing at the holiday celebration in Disneyland, I am not a dancer, but it is my favorite thing to watch. It's like a 16-piece band they have, and I don't think I've watched that band with less than 20 people who are just guests, not part of the entertainment, dancing in the pit. So it is a fun spot to be. They're going to bring back Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam on the theater. So you're going to get that evening show. And again, one of the other things that we always see at the parties that people go for are characters, unique characters, and uniquely dressed characters. Uh-huh. So we're told we're going to see our favorites dressed to the nines for their night out on Hollywood.
Very cool.
It wouldn't surprise me that we see Goofy with his top hat and cane. He's hard to catch that way, but I've seen him a few times. But they're bringing back favorites like Phineas and Ferb and Powerline Max. So as we've talked about with other parties, I think you're going to have to make some choices about where do you want to spend your time. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, well, I'm going to get suckered in. It shouldn't be buying all of the party-specific food because that's going to be there as well. And one of the unique things that is specific to this party is it is going to include all of your digital downloads from the evening. So regardless of whether you purchase PhotoPass, you'll be able to get your photos from the party because they're doing a lot of those prop photos that we see them do.
Sure.
And they're bringing 2 new setups for that. So I think, again, their ulterior motive, we've already been given a hashtag to start using for the party. And they want to see, I expect to see this party sell out.
How do we get tickets and when can we get them?
So again, I think they want to give some benefit to on-site guests, but they're also aware there are going to definitely be sellout nights pretty quick on this in my mind. June 29th, if you've got an on-site reservation, tickets will be available. And again, if you're booked with a travel specialist, they should be talking to you and grabbing tickets for you if you're interested. And then July 6th, they'll open to anybody in the general public without a resort reservation.
What about pricing? Yeah. What about pricing?
Vary in price per night. It's $159 to $179. The other unique thing about this party is there is no kids price on the tickets. Everybody pays the same, and that's not traditional. It's not really that it goes that much later. I think it's really the limited number of parties that are driving that. So with or without, you want to bring your 3-year-old, it's still going to be the same full price.
All right, so that's Jollywood Nights. That's new, right? But we also have the Mickey's Merry Christmas Party. So what do we got for that?
25 nights, so 2.5 times the number of events. November 9th through December 22nd. It's going to start a little earlier, go a little later, and as I said, 2.5 times. Not new this year, but if you've been a listener of our show, you know I can't talk about that party without talking about the toy soldiers. They will be appearing and marching again. It is my favorite part of the holidays. They're going to have a new show in front of the castle. It is going to be Frozen themed. We can't seem to let that go.
Oh, I like what you did there. That was good.
We'll see Anna and Elsa and friends over there as well. Again, we do still see the virtual queue for Tron. There will be an additional free virtual queue just for the party nights. So again, they're acknowledging that you want to maximize your time. And we're going to see a lot of the things that we've seen before. They do, again, that great parade. They've got characters galore, but it is the chance to do some short lines on some very popular rides. And of course, they do have a special holiday fireworks show.
What about the dates for that this goes on sale?
They're going to be the same. So that June 29th is going to be all on-site guests for either/both parties. July 6th for the off-site guests. We do see a difference here. The tickets do have a $10 discount for children 3 to 9. The tickets here, though, while they start at the same $159, they max at $199. So those last Prime days leading right up to Christmas, December 19th, 21st, 22nd, we're looking at $199 plus tax and adults.
And again, you can go back and listen to our previous shows about that particular experience if you're looking for a rundown. Some things change, but for the most part, in your experience, would you say that the general theming and some experiences remain the same year to year?
I would say if you're deciding, is it for you and do you plan this and how do you plan this, it's going to be 80 to 90% the same.
Okay.
If you like shows, maybe the show changes or the fireworks change or they're bringing out some new characters, but it's all still the same concepts of things that are available. Again, the new thing this year is those 2 virtual queues. Mm-hmm. But again, I want to make the clear distinction. We talked about the digital download. That is strictly for Jollywood Nights, not for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Let's talk about some old favorites because we're still talking about the holidays, and I know that we can't do a holiday show at all without mentioning what's next on our list to discuss. So go ahead.
I am just such a big fan of the holidays at Disney. I think if I could move down there for 6 weeks, I would, because there's so much. The parties are extra. Let's call a spade, but there is so much included extra. And yes, my favorite, the Candlelight Processional in Epcot will return November 24th through December 30th. So while it gets that later start, as I mentioned earlier, it actually goes later than anything else. If you haven't heard about Candlelight, we actually have an entire podcast just dedicated to it. I'll drop the link to it in the show notes. But it is the religious storytelling of Christmas, backed up with a large semi-professional choir as well as high school choirs and narrated by a celebrity. I don't believe that you need to be Catholic to appreciate the magnificence of this show. If you're really not sure if you love it, sit on the right-hand side and watch their sign language team. It is the only activity that is signed every single performances, 3 performances a night, and the sign language interpreters, to me, could be a show on their own. The one level of disappointment to me with that show is they always come out with the narrator list much later than I would like them to. and they always come out with about half a list. Then they add some others as they get confirmed. And then obviously the celebrity narrators are human. So we have had occasion where we have very specifically flown down to see a narrator, and then they've had a family emergency and they make a last minute switch. So I would say if there's multiple nights of your trip and you're only going to see it once, look at the narrator list. Otherwise, I've probably seen 24 narrators at this point. I definitely have my favorites.
Neil Patrick Harris.
I love hearing Neil Patrick Harris, but I was just going to say one of the downsides to NPH is it is mobbed that night.
Yeah.
The other great thing about Candlelight is it is in that open air theater by America. So if you don't do a dining package or you don't get online and you don't get a seat, you can stand in the walkway and hear. So you can decide to only take in a couple of minutes, especially if you have young children. I am always amazed that you could be in that theater and literally hear a pin drop. I don't know how you're in the middle of a theme park and that's possible, but that is the level of attention on that show. So you definitely want to catch a Candlelight Processional. The storytellers around the world are coming back. They're one of my favorites. We've got a couple of YouTube videos and we've got a download with info on the storytellers because I love that. They have not announced, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to have them back. Joyful, a gospel band and choir, normally performs right at the front of the World Showcase stage. They are phenomenal. If you have any doubt, if you say you don't love gospel, I encourage you to check out 2 minutes on our YouTube channel and you'll make sure to plan and see them.
Okay.
Over at Animal Kingdom, they've got one of my other favorite holiday things. Is there a limit to how many favorites I'm allowed tonight, Jeff?
Not in the holidays.
It's a tough one. The Merry Menagerie. You'll again see that I've got a YouTube video and a little shout out to Muhlenberg College. The first year that they offered this, one of my daughter's friends was on the college program and I ran into him being a puppeteer. The technical term for the menagerie is they are artisan sculpted puppets.
Huh.
They are all animals on various sticks. Some fly in the air, some are on like wheels and they push, but they are all shockingly, you would never guess this if you didn't hear this tidbit, made from recycled materials because after all, we are in Animal Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And watching them is phenomenal. And it's kind of like the first time I saw Nemo the musical when they were explaining it to us prior to the show. And they were like, there's going to be these giant puppets and you're going to watch the puppet, but they're held by a human and you're not going to pay attention to the human. And I was like, what are they talking about? This really brings something very similar in concept. The humans aid the puppets, but the puppets are really the focal point of the show. And definitely worth catching. And they're right inside the entrance, kind of as you go over that very first bridge, right by the Tree of Life. So they're super easy to catch.
Okay, we got a couple of more old favorites.
Disney's Hollywood Studios. They're bringing back that show that lights up on the Tower of Terror at night. It's about a 4-minute show, and I haven't heard officially, but they have 4 variations of the show. So it'll play for a couple of minutes, then it'll go dark, and then the next one will start. So easily you could plan on standing there for about 25 minutes. If you're doing the Jollywood Nights, it may tie in perfectly with waiting to get your seat with Kermit the Frog. Mm-hmm. Also, over in Toy Story Land, Jessie, Woody, and Buzz are going to be decked out for the holidays, as is their entire land. So it's always a fun spot to do some photos. And last but not least, or sort of last, gingerbread. It would not be Walt Disney World without their gingerbread displays. Most of the deluxe resorts have gingerbread that's just over the top and incredible. They're already drafting pictures now of what they're going to build. And then, of course, you have to make a stop over at the Grand Floridian where the entire lobby smells of gingerbread and they have a house large enough that it has a store inside. You can't walk into the store, but there are cast members working in the store, and all of the gingerbread supplies are inside, and you can walk up to the window and order anything from a single shingle off of the house to an entire mini gingerbread house to take home. And side note, they will hold very well if you put them on your lap going home on the airplane. I might just happen to have done that once or twice.
That doesn't sound like you. All right, we're coming to the end of the program. Anything else? I mean, the holidays are just an incredible time in Walt Disney World, so I'm sure we'll talk about it a bunch more, but anything else that you want to mention tonight?
One thing that I wish Walt Disney World would share with us that is something I love for the holidays is the transformation of the resorts is magic.
Yeah.
They really try to keep it under wraps, but if you're getting back to your resort 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and you get off the bus near the lobby and you happen to notice 4, 5, 6 plain white tractor trailers sitting there, that's the sign that tonight is the night. And I could sleep all day, go to Candlelight Processional, and then go to a different resort every night if they would share their schedule with me. They begin transforming a resort lobby somewhere between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. And with the exception of the gingerbread, which takes a bit longer to install, by 6 a.m., the resort is transformed. You go to bed, and it's just November, and you wake up, and it's Christmas. And watching them unload these tractor trailers and turn the resorts into holidays is spectacular. Typically, that's going to start around November 8th, 9th, 10th, and run through about the 19th. So if you're there, they're not supposed to tell you, but ask at the front desk, if they're expecting any special visitors at night, because I assure you, as tired as you'll be the next morning, it is one of the most magical and free things you can do at Disney.
Anything else before we say goodnight?
I've got 2 more. I'm going to be quick because I know I'm long tonight. This year, Santa is going to be quicker about his quick changes than Mickey Mouse. We always say there's one Mickey, and it must be really hard for him to keep running. In the morning, he goes from Chef Mickey over to Ohana and does all those changes.
Sure.
This year, you're going to be able to see Santa in more places than ever before. He will be in all 4 theme parks, 1 water park, as well as Disney Springs. So if you're going in early November, perfect way to get your holiday card this year. Any of the parks, you'll have that opportunity to meet with Santa.
Okay.
And then the last thing, if I've made you want to be at Walt Disney World for the holidays this year, or you've always known you wanted to go, they just released some great discounts for the holiday time. So they're limited capacity at each resort. They are going to sell out. The discounts are going to disappear quickly, but they're up to 35% off a night. So now is really the time to start planning this holiday trip.
Well, I will say that there is nothing more magical than the holiday season in Walt Disney World. We've said it time and time again, and it sounds like a broken record. It sounds like a company line. It's not. It's really a tremendous time of year to be there. It just takes on a different feeling. I thank you for sharing your passion on it, because I know it's not manufactured. I know it's completely legitimate. I share it with you. I'm hoping that the audience feels it too. Thanks again. Have a great week.
Thanks. Happy holidays, everyone.
And that's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Diz. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share on your Facebook and Instagram for other Disney fans to enjoy. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination planning. Make it a great week. And as always, keep making memories.